What's up, everybody? Grant Wise jumping in live. Welcome to the Real Estate University podcast. I am here with one of my favorite people on planet Earth. We got Mr. David Fanale that's jumped on with us today, and it's going to share some of his infinite wisdom. Dave, man, welcome to the podcast. We're looking forward to hearing from you today.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, man. It's a great honor to be involved with the Real Estate Marketing University, and I just want to add value wherever I can.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's dive right into it. I'm not big on like the fluffy intro stuff. Everybody always gets mad at me for talking too much. So I just want to get straight to the value. Like, who is David Fanale? Where have you been? Where are you from? What have you done? What are you doing now? Let's talk about you for a minute.
Well, it's pretty simple. I spent all my life really in New Jersey. Graduated from Rutgers University a number of years ago, and spent all my time really in northern New Jersey in real estate. My dad was a dentist, and his hobby was real estate. So I got involved with him, and I built real estate, sold real estate, invested in real estate, built houses, apartment buildings, all kinds of stuff like that over the years. And then I got involved and purchased a brokerage in 1996, which was one of our tenants, and got involved in that. Thought it was going to be a lot easier than it was. And through those years, it was actually 21 years I owned the company. One of the things I did all the time was I researched an awful lot so where I could find things to help agents excel and to succeed. You know, so through those years, I was always the guy, like a lot of people out there, looking for that shiny penny, right? And I always thought I would find it, build a program, and try to deliver it to, you know, the agents that worked with me at the time. And some people would say, yeah, that's really exciting. And some would do it, some wouldn't. Everything that we were able to put together was successful when the system was followed. You know, I always said that when you have a system or you have a process, if you follow whatever that process is, it's going to work. You know, I always look at it this way. It's probably a stupid example, but when you years ago for Christmas, you have to buy bicycles and you had to put them together. You didn't buy them already together. You'd never put the rear wheel on the front and the front wheel on the back. The bike just wouldn't work. That's why we follow directions. And with you, Grant, you always talk about the sales process or have a process for it, which is just, I mean, it's sounds genius, and it is, but it's just something that I've tried to do and tried to build over the years to help real estate agents become real estate professionals. So, you know, that's really a short history of where I am. And, you know, now I'm here. My mantra really is pretty simple. I want to work with people who want to work. That's what I'm really doing.
Yeah. So like 1% of the real estate marketplace, right? And there's a few that want to work really hard, but I think what you said is 100% true. It's not, or they say what is it? Systems don't fail, people do. And if you have a proven system and you can follow a proven plan, you're going to get results, and that's the greatest way to get results. That doesn't mean that you don't have to work to get the system in place. And I think that's a common misconception when we talk about these, you know, this proven plan or that proven plan or that proven plan. I think most of those plans work. It's just the agent's got to get plugged into the right system and work to get that system in place before they're ever going to see success. So in your, you know, over 3 decades of real estate experience as an owner and as an operator, as a broker, what do you think has been one of the greatest struggles you've seen with new agents?
An agent, there's a couple of things, but with new agents producing is, I think the biggest problem is that new agents are fed a lot of stuff like you can work as much as you want, you can make as much as you want. I think the first premise they come in with is that when you talk like that, they think it's a little easy. And it's really not easy. It's a job. It's work. It's hard work. And the biggest problem is that they don't know where to start. So where the mistake is made, I believe, on the brokerage end and on the broker owner end, is that we were more concerned with teaching them how to answer the phone and teaching them how to fill out a form and teaching them all the monotony and the BS of all that, more importantly than telling them how to build a business, right? So, you know, my biggest thing has always been the sphere of influence. And there's a process to everything, and there's a process to that. The biggest hurdle that a new agent has to get over is having that marketing set up or the ideas put in their head that they have to do the work. And basically that means, let's work with the easiest thing. You already own something. It's called a database. It's called your people, and that's who you have to market to first, along with other things that'll come along. But I think the biggest problem is that it's they think it's easier than it is, and they can set their own time, and B, the broker owners are a bit maligned to give them the time that they need to go over the things that they need. They're more worried about the paperwork and all that crap. And while it's important, let's get the first deal, or let's get those transactions rolling. And then, you can learn by doing, learn those forms the way they should be. But working with people, and being able to market to them and learn the marketing in the beginning, having that set up before you start, best thing you can ever do.
100%. 100%. So how would you say that you took steps? I know this was always like one of the things that enraged me the most about real estate brokers, traditional real estate brokers, is it's like, okay, here's the keys to the kingdom. I'll see you at the closing day. Well, good luck, buddy. I know that's not the way that you've ran your company. And so I'm curious, like, what are steps that you took to help new agents, not necessarily fast track, but achieve that first deal faster, or get to their second, third, fourth deal faster? I mean, experiential learning is one of the greatest things I think you can do. You can go to school, you can go to Harvard for 8 years, learn how to build a business. You still got to go out and start a business, right? So just the act of doing is I think, one of the greatest ways to learn. But how does an agent, like, what is a practical step an agent can take to grow that sphere, grow that database, work that sphere, work that database to get that first deal, to really push them into getting a deal done? I mean, I think average agent, if you look, it takes them 8 or 9 months to get a deal,
right,
when they ever get started. So what are some things that you've seen that can help a new agent either shorten that timeline, get work done before they get licensed? Like, what are some things that people could do?
There's a lot of ways to look at that question and to answer that. And one would be, well, just be everywhere. And well, it's not that easy to be everywhere. You have to, the biggest problem with new agents, really, and any agent, really, all agents, they have 2 problems: organization and focus. So when we get the organization together of their sphere of influence and the people they know, automatically, talk to them. One question I get all the time is, well, I got to talk to them. What do I say? I don't want to sound corny and ask them for business. And I said, you're right. Well, it's called, these people, have a conversation. So to get started and to get business quickly is you need to get your word out to the people first. Say, hey, you know what? I just got into business. I'm really excited, and ask them for help, because this is the people you know. Now, you might not be asking people you don't know that well for that help, for a referral, but the people family and friends. The biggest problem, Grant, that we find is when someone's new to the area and they don't have a lot of friends in that area or anything. They just need to get out there and market themselves. And that is the biggest problem that the new agent has, is they're not ready for that, and they don't know how to do it. And it's kind of like, it's like they want to be the rabbit, but they're actually the tortoise, and both can work. So basically the answer to the question really is to get out there, the people and market yourself and be as visible as possible, and let people know you're in the business and you got a knowledge of it.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of them are like, what do I say? What do I say to these people? You even commented on that, and you said, it's just having a conversation. I think it's important that, and if I'm looking at this, I'm not going to say anything different than I've ever said to the people that I am trying to know. It's no different than having a sales conversation. We have hundreds of sales conversations a month, and the entire first 30 and sometimes even 40 minutes of our sales conversations have got nothing to do with products or programs or sales. It has 100% to do with who you are as a person, what you're hoping to accomplish, if what we teach can help you accomplish that, or if what somebody else teaches could help you accomplish that. And I think it's important, like, it's an important distinction for me. If I'm going to go tell somebody that I'm doing something, I'm not just going to pick up the phone like an MLMer and say, hey, you want to see this great new opportunity that I'm involved with? I'm going to say, man, what in the hell have you been up to since high school? What on earth are these cute kids of yours doing? You know, what's going on with the family? I'm going to have a real conversation. So talk us through some of that stuff. When you say just have a conversation, what do you mean?
Well, with social media, it's really easy, right? So I did a live on Friday with Justin Smith, who I work with from this area, and he basically uses, we get him to use social media a lot more. And the way he does it really is he sees what his friends are posting, what his sphere of influence is posting, and that's his reason for the call. That's his reason for the connection. Like you just said it, Grant. What are these kids of yours up to? I had a question again last night from a colleague that asked me, an agent that said, well, I always worry about what to say when I'm calling everybody. And I said, well, how about just being yourself and being nice? And, like you said, geez, I haven't talked to you since high school. What's going on? Look, it can be either an apology where I'm sorry I haven't been in touch, or it can be, hey, man, it's been too long. I would guarantee you that if everyone listening to this or anyone listening to this basically either texted, emailed, or picked up the phone and called someone they hadn't talked to, take 10 people on their list, call them all and say, hey, it's Dave. Man, haven't talked to you in a long time. I'm so sorry. Let's catch up. Can we grab coffee this week? I didn't say anything about real estate. Mm-hmm. Not a word. And people say, I didn't say a word, but that will come up. They will bring it up. And people say, well, they know, for a sphere of influence, and it's in a class I'm working on, they always say to me, well, they know I'm in real estate. They'll call me if they need me. Well, they might, but they probably won't because you haven't been in touch with them. Mm-hmm. And staying in touch with them on a personal level, not even on, hey, you know what, the market's going up 10% and this. No, you don't have to do that because those questions are going to come out naturally because we overthink it. We overthink the sphere of influence where we've got to give all this data. Well, having that data as an aside is a conversational piece. But just speaking like, hey, man, how are you? Your kids look great. I see they're in softball or I was working on this one thing and I thought of you, that you had this expertise back when we used to hang out together. Just all these different things you can think of. It shouldn't be, and it might still be a chore to think of things to say, but if you just think about being a human being and not overthink it as a business, that's where it's all going to come from. And also, it's also got to come from your heart too. I mean, don't think about it too much. Get out of your head.
Absolutely. That's great advice. Great advice. So we've talked about how somebody can kind of get started, building their sphere, working their sphere. What have you seen are some of the greatest ways somebody could inject steroids into building their database or building their sphere? What's some ways they can really blow themselves up, blow their business up, increase their sphere and get more deals?
Well, here's the thing, we've got social media and we've also got this thing called the phone. A lot of people have these things, right? And I just want to make sure everybody knows that it's called a smartphone or a mobile device. It's also a phone. And the reason I get a little corny with that is that there's old ways of doing things. Like years ago, before we had, texting and before we had social media and all that stuff, the process that I had built just for a sphere of influence was really simple. It was send something out in the mail, follow up with a phone call, and then anybody you got on the phone, you sent a handwritten thank you note to it. That's it. Pretty simple. You do something every month. You don't call them every month. But when you take that, okay, so to set it on steroids is really simple. You're going to take your database. You're going to friend everybody on your database and social media, wherever you can find them if you can. And you're going to take a piece of information, you're going to send it out. There's a really good chance they're not going to see it, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to take that same piece and you're going to put it on social media as a post. And you're going to probably do a video on it. Look, videos, I've been doing it for 10, 11 years, and and if you're not doing it, you're really off. Now, you don't have to do face on screen all the time, but if you're doing stuff with this piece of snail mail, yeah, I said send it in the mail, and then post it in social media and then do an ad with it and put it on Instagram, ask people to share, and then you follow with a phone call, you're starting to be kind of everywhere. And when you do an ad with it for engagement purposes, you can then take the people that engaged with it or looked on it or clicked on it to get more information and retarget. See, a lot of people think that if you do an ad and you don't get leads from that ad, well, the ad wasn't successful. Yeah, you're missing the best point, which is the retarget of the people that went to it. So to put it on steroids, it's the snail mail, it's the posting, it's the video of what you're talking about, whether you're on or off screen, and then following up with phone calls to your sphere. And then anybody you do get on the phone, it's a simple handwritten thank you note. That's really the first month of a process that is golden and will I mean, look, if you got 200 in your sphere of influence and you do this process, it's going to move along and you're going to you can do anywhere from 10 to 30 to 40 transactions just from this process out of 200 people. Mm-hmm. Now, one thing that's really important to understand is you're not going to sell those people stuff. What you're doing with all this information is you're kind of training your sphere of influence to refer you.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Omnipresence.
Important.
Very, very powerful, very important. It's something that we work to teach. You want to be seen everywhere. You want to be known. You want to be heard. You want to be listened to. You want to develop influence in your local community, and that's just spot on way that you could inject some steroids into building your sphere of influence. Could not agree more, my man. Look, dude, this podcast has been fun to sit back and record with you, and help new agents, help even veteran agents understand how to grow, inject steroids into their sphere of influence, grow their database. You've got a lot of experience in this world, man, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing some of your infinite wisdom with us. It's been fun getting to chat with you a little bit. If somebody was like, I got to check this David guy out, because I know that you're becoming a pretty sought after character. You're getting a lot of people courting you to lead trainings, and a lot of people are working to figure out who you are and what you can do to help them. So if somebody was wanting to know, like, how do I get a hold of David? How can I connect with them? Where is the easiest place that somebody could come find you?
Well, you can find me on Facebook, and my information is there. You can also go and join our Facebook page, Real Estate Skill Builder. It's a group. Asked to join there, but my information is right on Facebook. They can direct message me there, or my contact information is there, so that's a way to find me.
Perfect, man. Well, hey, we'll get that linked up in the podcast recording in this video, and make sure that if you want to connect with David, you've got the opportunity to do so. I highly encourage you to do so. He's not only a very, very, very savvy business person, but just an excellent human being and a great guy to have in your corner, help you understand. He's going to give you a ton of value, stuff that other people charge you thousands and thousands of dollars for. He just wants to help. And so I encourage you to seek him out. Look into how you can get more connected with David. David, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. If you got one piece of golden advice, either personal, business, mindset, what is just one last little piece of advice you would give somebody before we left today?
Anything. I learned this from a good guy, Dean Jackson, the 9-word email, either an email or a text of leads you haven't connected with. Just the text, it's really simple, right? Are you still interested in purchasing a home and put the town?
The old Jackson email, yep.
Yep, the old Dean Jackson 9-word email. And Dean's a great guy. Worked with him for a while, and but that's simple.
I sent that email out to my 30,000 plus person database, and I got like 500 responses I couldn't keep up with. We call it taking a swing at the beehive in this office, because once we do it, we just can't even keep up with all the responses we get. That's a great piece of advice. Look, brother, I appreciate you. You know that. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Guys, thanks for listening to this week's podcast. I hope to see you on the next Real Estate Marketing University podcast. You guys have an amazing day, and we will talk soon. Peace.
Take care, man. Peace.